Love, peace, and power, everybody. My name is Kilel Kiano, aka Konami Codes. Welcome to the Mystery Arcade Occult Multiversity. I have a very special guest today. I'm so honored to have. Please help me in welcoming Aquarius Maximus. How are you?
I am well, thank you.
It is an absolute honor to have you here. You have been an inspiration and an innovator and a trailblazer and so many different things. Polymath, code writer, data analyst, cardologer, astrologer, numerologist. The list goes on and on. You have an app that has become a everyday facet, which I find to be a beautiful thing because technology can be a lot of things, especially in the minds of people who don't necessarily take the time to explore it and see how it can benefit us, especially as a collective. Can you speak to what led you to dive into code writing and data, creating your own platforms like Solve Social, and some of the bigger things you have going on? I know you have a masterclass coming up for AI and Learn that sounds incredible to be able to actually convey this to our people, our community in a way that benefits the collective. Can you please speak to that?
Well, I'm a builder. So four spades, Saturn, four clubs. So I love building things. And under the umbrella of building, development definitely is very strong under there. So some people build, they go out build with their hands and stuff like that, and then other people build code and build, in that way. So I'm absolutely just addicted to creating and being creative. I started out in technology years and years and years ago. In high school, I went to an engineering school. I went to Brooklyn Tech, nice. So some people may know about Brooklyn Tech, but so technology there. And then I remember when I think it was about 16, 17, my grandfather said to me, if you get into computers, you're going to really, really go far. Like if you really, real dive into it. So I think it was like after right around the time after I had my first daughter, my first child, I really just got back into like got hardcore. I was doing design. I started out doing design. And then I started doing development. I remember how I got into real hardcore development is this lady hired me from Australia to fix e-commerce sites like broken code because it was an open source e-commerce platform that everybody used to use, and it was always had broken code. So she hired me to fix her clients to get out there and fix code. And it was in fixing code that I really learned how to code in other languages. Just fixing. I was a good problem solver, so I could fix something. And I remember back then it was interesting because a lot of code was in German and stuff like that. So it didn't even matter. Like you just fix stuff and when you get it working, then you kind of reverse engineered your learning code and learning how to code. So I eventually got into more deeper things. I went back to school for more technology, but more into networking and stuff like that. So I got my Cisco certificate. I was a certification junkie at one point. Then I started working at the university. And that was like I think my first real tech job was at the university. And but then we started, so a couple of my friends, we started a web development company, and he just so happened to be very connected to every celebrity you can think of. So I, became well known as like the little underground legend building websites and communities for celebrities. I also at that point was very addicted to building communities. I built one for myself. And at one point it was like at about the 30,000 members and stuff like that. And I was instead of Aquarius Maximus. I was admin web mistress. That was my nickname. And my other name in development was Web Diva. So people used to call me Web Diva, so they call me Diva. So they would send me all of the websites, all of the development, especially people would really come to me when they needed something done fast. Like they were like, I need this done like tomorrow. I know she'll do it. They gave it to me and then it'd just be done. So I built up that. And then I got more into data. I started getting into data, started getting into databases and you know, creating dashboards, reports, and stuff for corporations. And then it was government. Then I got into government. I worked for the VA, doing SQL reporting and all this other stuff, working more in the database stuff. And I really loved the database stuff. And it was the database stuff that led me down to getting more into data science and eventually, because that's where it is, it starts with data, then it evolves to data science, then it evolves to AI. So and I also got into blockchain and blockchain development, so founded and created Coin, got heavy into that. And people would ask me, it's like, well, why you do this, why you kind of jump into this or did that. To when you're in tech and you're like a geek, everything is tech. Nothing is by, it doesn't, it makes sense that you would learn every bit of technology that you could possibly learn when you're deep into tech like I am.
That makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. Thank you for that. That's a very big picture. And correct me if I'm wrong, because this just came to me. I think you're able to detect a I don't want to say a semblance, but just the nature of spirituality in technology, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Um, a reason I say that is because I remember growing up, I was big on mythology, big on comic books, things
me
of that
too.
nature. You know what I'm saying? So, like, Transmetropolitan was a comic book that really introduced me to the idea of transhumanism. I never really, thought about that with the idea of like Neuralink and things of that nature dealing with the mind. It becomes a little bit more serious, a little bit more acute, a little bit more in focus. I have an LVAD, right? An LVAD heart pump. So like I've got a lithium ion pump in my heart that I might actually be able to get out one day because my heart is doing things that the doctors never really anticipated. But I
Mm,
say that because I'm technically a transhuman.
mhm,
So, I'm a walking example of how technology can benefit us as opposed to like pacemakers.
mhm,
So I would imagine you see something very beneficial in the nature of not only understanding technology, but being able to kind of steer that ship and kind of correct the course correctively.
mhm,
Does that make sense?
mhm, mhm. Yeah, I'm into a lot of different stuff. I think my biggest thing is I tend to not trust the deliverers of this stuff. You know what I mean? So it's like, um, people are inherently, they got a lot of we tend to let um people kind of lead the direction in our spiritual direction, our physical direction, because they're wealthy or they have money or whatever the case may be, right? And I just don't trust them. So I'm like, they're shaping the direction of where you're going, what you're going to be in the future, and it's according to their standards and what they want. you know so it's like, what about my standards, what about my individuality? And there's I Pluto and Aquarius, the individual. How important is the individual is going to have to fight for their its autonomy and their say in their own lives, and possibly in the lives of their concentric circles you know so although I love all of that and I love technology, I think my thing for principle is higher. You know how they say the principle of things. You know, I think my principle is a little is higher than my love for the technology, because the technology could be like the apple, you know what I mean? The snake, you know, or all of those things. You don't know what you're biting into.
Most definitely, most definitely. There's a I admire you and your actions in terms of social media because we often hear the old adage of throwing the baby away with the bathwater, but to be able to walk away from a platform, understanding that the best, not all, I don't care who you are, the best of our followers will essentially follow us wherever we go. So to kind of, just just throw your mother said something the other day, just throw the whole earth away. You know what I'm saying? To be able
Make
to
your
throw the
own.
platform. Exactly. To
Make
throw
your
the
own.
platform. You see what I'm saying? And that's exactly what you've done and what you're doing. Can you please tell us a little bit about Soft Social and what you
Yeah.
have going on with your platforms? Because the incorporation of cryptocurrency, like you're always kind of ahead of the curve. So you hopped on that, very early. And I think more and more of us are understanding some of the benefits of not only, engaging with crypto, but again, how it can benefit us, as a collective.
Yeah, especially having our own blockchain. Because I look at blockchains and cryptos as the babies, the people who created certain things, you know what I mean? And so, it kind of has its agenda baked into it, so because of that, I work on my things, I bake my agenda into it. And my agenda is always making sure that I'm doing what I can to level the playing field. Because the thing of the matter is, we're never going to have this egalitarian society that we like to have without creating the things that empower us, so that we can even operate on that level. So my goal is always to create things that bring empowerment to the community, so that we could say, hey, we're here. You know what I mean? We don't need to be spoon fed everything. We can do this ourselves. We geniuses out here. You know what I mean? And so, that's just my thing. And I'm like, I'm waiting. I just build and I wait for the people to show up, and that's always going to happen. You got to build, and then you got to have patience, and you got to have faith, and the people will inevitably show up.
Most definitely, they are definitely showing up, and they're showing up brilliantly. I spoke earlier before we started about some of your students. Special shout out to Salita
Shout
and
out.
Pharaoh D. Brown, Mimi.
Yeah,
They are doing their combo with the cards, Insecure Watch Party Decode right now.
yeah.
I'm
And
so I'm
it's so much others out there too. Shout out Bailey. Shout out. Oh my gosh, I don't even want to miss anybody, because it's so many, and they doing really really good things with this, and I feel like this is what it's all about. Like, it's not about me; it's about the people that come after me. You know what I mean? And get to go before me, so that just makes my day. The people already know I'm always talking about retirement. You know what I mean? So I want to help a legion of people do their thing.
That is exactly what you're doing. It magnificently because you can see the torch being passed, and I see an inferno that I don't think is going to burn out anytime soon. Um, you have before I get too far off into my own agenda. You have an MVP Academy boot camp coming up, and that is December 5th. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, actually, we got a lunch and learn at the Black Wall Street here in Stonecrest, where I'm going to be doing AI. But tonight, I have another MVP bootcamp class building apps with building apps with AI tonight, like right after here. So I've been doing those at least about once a month, and really trying to expose people to something that is of tremendous value. And that's, building a startup, building a tech startup, taking one of these niche ideas you have and putting them out, or thinking about something you may have wanted to put out or you wanted to do yourself, and now the tools are there for you to do it. So I'm teaching the tools, what tools that you can use to help you build out your tech dream or whatever. Who knows, you might be the next whomever, you know what I mean, on the tech. You might be the next Facebook, you might be the next, whatever. And there are tools to help you do it. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm teaching how to use AI to build out your platforms.
That is incredible. That's absolutely incredible. I think that's going to start another chain reaction, because if you think about social media, like I remember one of the first vestiges was like MySpace, and a lot of people liked MySpace or like Black Planet because they were so creative. Like you really got to like show your personality, and you can see how social media, Facebook, the quote unquote big guys took that template and ran with it.
Uh-huh.
But I see the same thing happening with like for anybody who may be on TikTok. TikTok has a lot of creative features, like as far as editing and special effects go. You
Uh-huh.
see that mirrored in what Facebook and Instagram do, especially like in their story sections. So
Uh-huh.
like there's this chain reaction. There's this pop off effect. Um, I think you're making that easier for people because, again, back talking about the collective, we don't necessarily tap into our creativity in so many different ways. Like, either you're going to do this, you're going to play ball, you're going to rap, you're going to do this, that, and the third. You're raising awareness, like you're really living up to your name, Aquarius. Can you, for those who may not know, can you explain why you are a Scorpio and you have legally changed your name to Aquarius Maximus, right?
I have. I have. So I adopted the name Aquarius Maximus back in 2014. And it literally just kind of came out of nowhere. Like, I don't even know where it came from. It was like that split second Aquarius Maximus. That's who I was. And I kind of ran from there. And I find that Aquarius is just the name. Aquarius is such a higher collective, like octave, like it brings people together. So, like, when I go places and I tell them they like, how you got to give your name, and I'm like, my name is Aquarius, everything just stops. They're like, oh my God. They're first of all, they're always an Aquarius. They're like, I'm an Aquarius. Like, I 9 times out of 10, when I have to give my name to somebody, they're an Aquarius. So I can't even tell you what that's about, but it's like so true. Like, even when I go up, I'm ordering something, you got to give your name. I'd be like Aquarius. They'd be like, oh my God, I'm an Aquarius. So it attracts a lot of Aquariuses, number one. But number two, it always sparks up conversation. People start talking about astrology. They be like, are you into astrology? And, so everywhere it goes, it's like such a wonderful door opener for me. Like, I never expected it to be, but it is. A guy was at my camper today working on my camper, and he was like, what's your name? And I said, Aquarius. He was like, oh, wow. He's like, that's so beautiful. Like, what, the age of Aquarius? And like everybody, it just always melts down walls. And then we get into a whole conversation. So we either talking about we start talking about astrology, and we start talking about crypto. We start talking about tech. All of the things that Aquarius is ruling. We start having these long conversations. So I feel blessed in a way, because I feel like, the universe gave me that. as a way of kind of preceding me, because I'm usually like a very shy person, and I like to keep to myself. But Aquarius forces me to get out of my shell.
Indeed, indeed. Thank you for sharing that. You're describing my younger brother to the T. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I can definitely understand that. Um, I saw a video I think you did yesterday, and I had a revelation as I rewatched it for today. You were speaking about 2025, and you were speaking about red and blue. Um, there's a movie that came out in 1984, which is a very interesting year for anybody who read the book, 1984. The movie is Red Dawn.
I remember.
Um, you
Yeah.
remember that movie?
Yeah.
You remember who invaded the U.S.?
It was either Russia or China, but I can't remember which one it was. I don't remember.
It was Russia.
Russia, yeah.
Now that movie came out, like I said, 1984. What's interesting is they did a remake in 2012. 12 years ago, which of course was another dragon year, with dragon year being transformative energy in the
Yeah.
Eastern Zodiac, right?
Mhm.
Um, and you know what? That brought to mind another question. Actually, I'm going to get to in a second. The remake had North Korea as opposed to Russia, as opposed to Russia the very first time. So, but as you pointed out, they're both red, right? Especially with that Ace of Diamond energy. Can you speak just a little bit to what you feel 2025 is going to be? I know people hear this term like wish fulfillment dealing with the Nine of Hearts, and we tend to get happy. When I hear the word wish, probably because of a traumatized youth, I remember like the horror movies Wishmaster.
I
You know
know.
what I'm
Be
saying?
careful what you wish for, kind of wish thingy. And
Exactly.
honestly, we are there because we're just really entering Pluto and Aquarius, right? You kind of think of Hades, the devil, giving you your wishes. You know what I mean? So the idea or the concept of having your wishes granted and by the devil, it also connotates selling your soul and all of these themes. And then there's no coincidence that you have Diddy on trial, basically on public trial right now, right? And a lot of the themes there are the same type of themes. Like you look at what happens when you make wishes or want things so bad. What are you willing to give up? You know what I mean? And giving up your soul. So there are so many convergences going on right now, like timeline convergences. It's dizzying. That's why people are really like kind of stressed out because there's so many things going on. And because there's so many things going on and there's so many awakenings and revelations, people tend to think it's bad, or it's evil, because it's things that people couldn't handle for so long. Like a lot of us, we were already into it. We were into the conspiracy theory, the conspiracy communities. We were talking about this stuff like 20 years ago. You know what I mean? Like on the internet at that. On the internet, we were talking about the monarch program. The we were talking about we were talking about the Monarch program. We were talking about the Philadelphia experiment. We were talking about like all of these different things, right? And they were all about what people consider to be really fantastic things. But the main theme of, especially like the Monarch program and all of that, was the programming of people and how women were used in certain ways as portals and programming and stuff like that. And because back then it was mainly like white folks, right? You know what I mean? So a lot of people wrote it off as white folk stuff, or rich people stuff, right? But here we are now in 2024, and you're seeing the same people who came off the streets the hood, the black, this, that, and the third. Now you're peering into the whole entire spectrum and how deep it really went. You know what I mean? So when I see these things and I'm seeing what's going on right now, it's taking me back to the past. It's like, wow, this is stuff that we've been knew about. We've been talking about. So now it's kind of being cracked wide open. So you have that going on simultaneously while you have this election going on, and simultaneously while you have the world on the verge of war. You know what I mean? And then what's really interesting is that a lot of the characters are like the same cards, you know? You got Donald Trump, 3 of diamonds, you got Diddy, 3 of diamonds, you got, you know what I mean? So it's like almost feel like a 3 of diamonds explosion going on, you know? And that's what the 3 of diamonds deals with. It just deal with the revelation of secrets. And because the so-called popularized, the person who popularized cardology was a 3 of diamonds, only Richmond. You got human design. He the guy that started human design, he was a 3 of diamonds. You know what I mean? So the 3 of diamonds seem to accompany the revelation and awakening of information as well, you know? So we're getting hit hard with that right now on so many different levels that I was looking at somebody, they were talking about how it is making it difficult to predict the future because the now is so transformative. What's going on right now? It's like you're getting jogged into right now. What's going on right now? Focus on what's going on right now, you know. And then Aquarius deals with the future, Uranus deals with the future, but it's definitely zooming you into now, this now moment. So, you know, the threat of war never really seemed like a thing to us in the last 20, 25 years or whatever. Like, oh, we'll be okay. We kind of feeling like we we're babysat. You know what I mean? We're being babysat by our government. The government got us and we'll be okay from all that. We don't got to worry about all of that. And even one of the things that I talked about as well is that America is very protected. It's just very spiritually protected. Because you notice that certain things never happen here. You know, you got all of these threats, but how many times have you seen, you know, people kind of like, you know, what do you call it? The those bomber people, they walk into a mall, blow up a whole mall. That doesn't really happen here. You know what I mean? Like it is very rare these things happen. And you know, and people don't understand, like I said, how this is supposed to be the center of the Aquarian awakening because we've awakened the world. Like everything, every trend that the world is vibing on right now started with us. You know what I mean? So that because that's what we are. We're Jack of Diamonds. Ace of Clubs is a transformation. We are awakeners to new lifestyles, to new ways of living. That's what we give and we deliver, you know? So, and people in the world are not really battling it like we think they are. We we start to feel guilty and be like, oh, America's so bad. We did this and we did that. The people outside of America don't look at it like that. We do, you know? So now, what kind of jarred me and what I was talking about the other day is just looking at the map of America turning quote unquote red. You know what I mean? That's very symbolic, like extremely symbolic. And it's a little scary, you know? But I do believe that even though I know that the election was tampered with very badly and all that stuff, I believe that the people chose consciously and unconsciously, they chose a radical future. You know what I mean? Like that's what they're choosing. They're choosing because these people, they got things going on in their personal life that they want to change so badly. You know what I mean? That's like, I don't want to wait. I don't want it peaceful. I don't want to fall back asleep. They're like, I want this thing to blow up because of what I'm going through personally in my personal life. Everybody's approaching a 9 year, a 9 of hearts. People are wanting endings. People are going to be getting divorced. There's going to be breakups. People are going to lose people. You know what I mean? So, you know, so it's all kind of, you know, going in line with this whole this whole bloodshed theme. We're shedding blood, we're transforming. And some people say, well, why are you being negative? It's interesting because that's really why I left Instagram. Because people don't understand. It's like I'm supposed to inspire. You know what I mean? At all costs. I'm supposed to inspire you to hope to see better. Right. And I had arrived to a point where I couldn't do that. I could not keep ringing the bells of inspiration because I felt like I'm fighting against the tide. The tide was changing. You know what I mean? It's not my time. It's not me. It's not my time. So I had to move on to something else, to another area where I feel like I'll have a greater impact, or I'll have, possibly more people. But over there, I couldn't do it.
I can definitely understand that, and I thank you for it because with your following, with people that you inspire, I think that's going to be needed to be able to make that exit because we are the value. The more we realize that, the more again we all can benefit. I wanted to get your opinion because I can't even pronounce this thing. In 2026, I know we've just come out of a Pluto return, 248 years. In 2026, it will be the U.S.'s 250th birthday. I think it's like a semi. I can't pronounce it, centennial something. Um, I can only imagine what that looks like.
And we're
Um,
we'll be having our Uranus return, I believe, right? I think it's a Uranus return. If I'm not mistaken.
can you speak to the possible significance of that? Because what we see in the futures, what we see in the market, what we see in gross national product, what we see with the immigrant workforce that was not an issue a year ago with open borders until it was election time. Um, Trump, or the Orange Man, has been making some very interesting statements about what he's going to do as soon as he takes office. Um, that sounds like a powder keg to me, but it doesn't seem like people are focused on that, at the very least, energetically.
Yeah, because he's all about his pack, the four, the Reds, they're all about laying it on the table. This is what it is. We about to, you know, we're gonna kick up some stuff. And the Blues on the other side was like, okay, this is going on, but let's focus on this positive stuff, this building, this coming together. And they're like, oh, we're gonna come together, but we coming together with who we want to come together with. You know what I mean? Like this is a segregated coming together, right? And I can see in some instances why the segregation is necessary at this moment, but it didn't have to be done in a what do you call it, in a nasty, or what do you call it, when you have a caste kind of system way. It didn't have to be done that way, but you know there's that segregation that's going to occur. But we also got to remember, I think one of the most important transits that are coming up is the conjunction of Neptune and Saturn in Aries. You know what I mean? So Neptune is going in Aries. Saturn is going to be going in Aries. Saturn has been really kicking into us in the 12th house, so in Pisces already, and because it's in Pisces, people are not really quite, people will forget that, oh, this is Saturn and Pisces stuff going on. You know what I mean? So like the destruction of Hollywood, the destruction of Diddy, just the destruction of all that is secret and been held from us is now being constrained, is now up for judgment, because we're getting ready to go into a whole new cycle. Because when Saturn goes into Aries, it's starting the zodiac all over again. When Neptune goes into Aries, it's starting another zodiac cycle again. So the two of them coming together and coming into the beginning of the zodiac symbols, a new beginning that is based on based on, again, dispelling the myths and making the myths real. You know what I mean? So this is not a myth anymore. This is reality. You know, aliens are not just a secret anymore. They're reality. This is a new reality, right? And then also how it's going to impact men, because it's going into Mars. I mean, it's going to Aries. You know what I mean? So, you know, my prediction, and I've been saying this, is that this is going to be like the spiritual renaissance of men, you know? So, yeah, now you're going to have men in tarot, men into all of these different things. That's coming real soon. You know what I mean? A little late, but it's coming. But as most spiritual people know, you typically have to have all of your material things stripped away from you. You know what I mean? In order for you to value spirituality, for you to value what edge spirituality can give you. You have to be constrained, and you got to be brought to your death almost, you know? So there are going to be a lot of existential, whatever you, however you say it, crises, crises. You are going to be in crisis, right? Trying to figure out not what's going on in the world, but what's going on within their own personal world. So we're coming into the age of, how you say, the age of the life coach, the this, the that. Like this is gonna be y'all time, you know, spiritual people that consult, that do this and whatever. They're going to be the in-demand people, because they're going to be dealing with all these people that their entire world is being ripped from within, from beneath them.
Indeed, indeed. I think that's another reason why there's this popcorn effect when it comes to cardology. It makes things better. It makes it plain. It makes it simple. You know, you need dedication and time and study like anything else. But there's a knowing. You know, being a numerologist, numbers, gematria, different ciphers show me so many different things in so many different languages and frequencies. But cardology literally makes it better. I didn't feel the full, and I don't want to put my foot in my mouth. I didn't feel the fullest upper echelon nature of my role until I started delving into cardology a bit more and more. What I love about it is it really shows the interconnectivity between all things. There really is no separation. You
No,
know, when
that
you no,
everybody
please go.
walks in each other's shoes. Everybody experiences similar karmas and stuff like that. You attract who you attract for a reason. And cardology helps you to be that investigator to unveil that, so that you can kind of remove the victimization away. You can remove the depression, the disappointment on why things happen the way they did and why they're happening. Because at the apex of all of that is just wanting to know why. Why did this happen? You know what I mean? Like, you can't take away from the fact that it happened, but people want to know why.
There was some. It's exactly right. Exactly right. I want to share something um, I learned from Salita, one of your students. Right. Um, when I was 18, I had stillborn twin girls. Um, they carried the full term, almost 9.5 months, just like me. I learned that the Three of Hearts is the card of twins. So me being a Seven of Hearts on the life spread, I'm crowned by the Three of Hearts. So I can remember being like 5 and 6. I've always had these memories of like wanting to be a father. You know, I used to walk around with like list of questions and list of names. You know what I'm saying? So it gave me a level of understanding. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you've been through. At some point, we always, am I crazy? You know what I'm saying? Like, you're going to have these moments. My daughters have talked to me my entire life. Cardology made it make sense in a way that I never would have got with numerology. I never would have got with
King of Hearts
astrology.
and Neptune. Right. Thinking of Neptune. Yeah, King of Hearts, Neptune. That's the father, the psychic father, the father of the father of many, you know. Yeah, the King of Hearts and Neptune. So Seven of Hearts is underneath the surface. A Seven of Hearts is a father.
Wow. You made that make a lot of sense. A lot of sense. Thank you for that. It's a priceless piece. You know what I mean? To understand that they serve me better in that capacity. Um, and I don't have to necessarily go anywhere or do anything. They're just kind of there. To see that displayed is just, I still don't have the words to properly convey that. Eternally grateful to Salida for that. Um,
She's dope.
yes, incredibly dope. I'm going to miss
My
the after
dog,
show.
my dog is telling on my kids. I'm sorry, y'all. She coming
That's
over here
all right.
telling me what they did and did not do.
As you should, as you should, indeed. Before, I don't want to hold you too long. I have to make it to your mother's class. I know you have class. Can
Class.
you speak to what you have coming up, please? I have your soft social link is in the description. Everybody, please tap in with that. I have your Patreon and your website is in the description also, and I also have you and your mother on my link tree. So you can find Aquarius Maximus and Nina Diamond there as well. Everywhere I go, you will see them. But please, before we get out of here, thank you again so much for joining us. It's been an absolute honor. Tell us what you have coming up, what you're working on, what we can look forward to,
Um,
how we can support you.
so I'm working on soft states. I will have a Zoom on Monday on soft states. So if you visit softstates.com and if you sign up for the newsletter or you sign up because you're interested in joining the movement, that's my main objective for next week. I am also launching another platform that is a Twitter-like platform with more voice and vocal features. That's one thing that's coming up. And then Carrie, my bank, Unbank, is also launching next week. So that's why I'm kind of a little tired now. I've been working 24/7 on getting these platforms ready. Soft social would be more of the social kind of end of things, but we also have a lot of just community building tools that's going to be launching for soft states, like identity management, DAOs, decentralized autonomous organizations, ways to come together and build and vote. It's so much. I'm working on a lot of stuff. But if you keep up for now, I am on TikTok. I'm doing more TikToks now. I just started, so be gentle with me again. I'm on YouTube, so I'm doing YouTubes as well. My website is getting ready to be done, and I'm getting ready to unload a bunch of content onto Patreon. So I will be launching a self-study cardology site as well. So I've been working on that and then working on my books and just a lot of offline stuff. So I'm gonna be busy. I have a Queen of Spades in Jupiter this year. So I'm gonna be busy, just trying to give as much stuff as I can because that's what I love doing. Oh, and I'm in the metaverse. So, I'm in Meta. Follow me as Aquarius Maximus inside the metaverse, Meta Horizons, different places like that. I'm building a little cardology center in Meta Horizons. So follow me there.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. I cannot wait for absolutely all of that. You heard it, folks. Please tap in, support. She does so much, and she does it for the collective, for the benefit of us all. And the majority of us doing anything in these spiritual streets, on these social media streets, we cannot say that. So, as Mama Diamond always says, stay on the right side of the energy. If you're following and supporting Aquarius, I guarantee you are doing just that, and you're doing it for the betterment of us all. Thank you so much, Aquarius, for joining us. It has been an absolute honor. I hope that you will come back. Please treat yourself and get some rest because you deserve it and you need it, and we
Thank
need you
you.
to continue doing exactly what you're doing. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much. Thank you for having me. Thank you, everybody.
Love, peace, and power, y'all. Y'all have a marvelous rest of your Jack of Hearts day, and we will see you soon.
Absolutely.
Peace.
Peace.